Hello, good people of the drawing journey. So today I will show you an exercise which will work quite a few different aspects of your drawing technique. The first thing I'm going to do is just draw some straight lines about halfway across my paper here. I am trying to be mindful about making them obviously as straight and as smooth as possible, but also trying to keep the distance between them somewhat regular. I'm going to add a few curvy lines like this for reasons which will become apparent in a moment as I move on to the next part of the exercise. Okay, so next part of the exercise is I'm going to draw some basic shapes in between the lines. Now I am trying to be mindful about making them as good as I can, coming as close as possible to a perfect circle as I can in this particular moment. Again, this is the point about practicing well. You know, when you're drawing and you're doing drawing exercises like these, you're practicing your muscle memory. And the muscle memory, like I've stated before, is dumb. It only remembers, what you do, not what you tell it. That's just in the nature of the muscle memory. So if you're being really sloppy with your lines and with your shapes, with whatever you're drawing, you're practicing, then you're practicing sloppy lines, sloppy circles, sloppy shapes, right? And that's what you get good at. So try and be mindful about making them as good as you can. And as you can see, as I'm getting warmed up here, my circles become a little bit better as well. So that's the exercise, and it's very, very valuable, basically. So you can do a whole paper full of just circles like this. That is no problem at all. But I'm going to continue to a different shape. I'm going to do some ellipses here. Ellipses, same thing, really, really basic, very valuable and an important shape to be able to do well. Ellipses are obviously closely related to the circle, as a foreshortened circle becomes an ellipse. So ellipses are something that you'll be using a lot in your drawing as well. Let me just finish up. You can definitely do, again, a whole paper of just ellipses. That is no problem at all. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do some triangles. Again, I'm trying to be mindful about making the triangles nice and symmetrical while keeping my pen to my paper. So once I put down the pen, I don't lift it off till I finish my shape. Now, you don't have to do that. I mean, if you want to, it's important again to do triangles as well. So if you're doing something like this, or do something like this, that's not really what you're looking for. You're trying to be symmetrical in the triangles. So if you have to, do it like this to begin with, then that's fine. Go ahead. Just make sure that you're getting as good a shape as possible, and just keep working on it until you get it right, and then you can just add efficiency and speed as you go along, right? So that's one thing. You can also do squares, cubes. And as you can see, I am hovering them just a little bit above the line. I'm trying to be symmetrical with them, and I'm adjusting the size of the squares a little bit with the difference between the two lines, and that comes down to the curvature of the line, which brings me obviously to the next part here, which is the curved lines that I did. The reason for that is because when you add some curves like this, you will add quite a bit of variation to the distance between the lines, so you're having to adjust your shape quite a bit, and that is a nice added challenge basically to this exercise here. And going back to the circles with it, as I find that works best with the curved lines, but you can definitely do it with all of the shapes, no problem at all. I'm not going to finish the paper right now. I'm going to continue to a different part of the exercise as to not bore you. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a circle a little bit bigger like this. And I'm going to try and freehand it. And, well, everything here is freehanded. I'm just going to try and draw a nice circle if I can. And as you can see, to begin with, I am sketching it out with small strokes like this. And I'm just sort of adding the strokes slowly, and then committing to the ones that brings me the closest to the shape that I'm going for, which in this case is the I'm going for the perfect circle, right? Obviously, it's never going to be perfect when you do it by hand, but you can get as close as possible. And then I'm doing the same thing, going over, retracing my own line here. Well, not the same thing, but it is repeating the exercise, repeating the shape, which ingrains it into my hand, right, into my muscle memory again. So that's one way to do it, and this is the way I did circles for a long time. I still do it once in a while, but I'm trying to work towards being able to do them in a more flowing motion. So to be able to do it in a more continuous fashion like this, where I'm just basically doing a circle in one motion. And I'm just, as you can see, ghosting out the line first, and then I am slowly adding pressure as my circle comes out. And I'm going to adjust it a little bit to try and get it as perfect as possible. This is a lot more difficult for me. I'm working on this definitely still. The thing about this is it's the release of the drawing hand that I keep talking about, right? So it is drawing from the shoulder and from the elbow. And eventually I want to be able to do really nice circles just like this in one flowing motion, which I will achieve, I am sure, with practice. It does happen once in a while, but I'm not that good at it yet. But that's the drawing journey, right? That's the practice. That's the reason why I do these exercises, just to become better. So, and again, I'm going over the circle, you know, in my own line here, in the same motion, just to try and retrace the step, and again, ingrain the motion into my hand, right? Now I'm trying to talk and explain at the same time here, and so I don't really get into the groove of it. But when you're doing these exercises and you just sit there and you just get into the flow of working these shapes, it can become almost this, like, you know, mindfulness exercise where you get into this meditative state of just going with the flow, which is actually really nice. So I'll definitely recommend that. But let's move on to a different shape. Same thing here. I'm going to do a triangle, and just go around the shape in a continuous motion to work that shape into my drawing hand. And I can do a cube. And I would say, I mean, if you can, it's good to work these in a continuous motion, like once you put your pen to the paper, don't lift it. But if you have to draw like for instance, if you have to draw a cube, you know, in parts like this, in order to get it to begin with, then that's fine. Go ahead and do that, you know. It's more important to get a good shape to start with, and then you can draw over that, right? And practice it like this. Okay, and you can do more, you know, more organic shapes if you want. Just do like a blob, like this, and do the same thing. Go over the line and just retrace your own line here again. And again, when you get into these little bit bigger shapes like this, it forces you to release your shoulder and release your elbow. So again, the thing about releasing your drawing hand, expanding on your, you know, the freedom of your ability to basically your range of motion, and basically to be able to do the shapes that you like, right? This will allow you to eventually capture really nice curves and really nice shapes. But anyway, some of these shapes are really, really good, and they're very simple. You can do, I can do an ellipse as well. I don't have time. Well, see if I can fit one in here. Almost forgot. And try and get a good ellipse going. And practice that a few times. Right? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish the paper. I'll probably speed up the video because that will not be too interesting for you to watch. But sit back and enjoy the ride if you like. Just finishing up the last here. Yeah, so that's it. I mean, as you can see, I spent the most energy on the circles and on the ellipses. I find those to be the most challenging. But you know, anything that you find is more challenging, practice that, obviously. So yeah, this is a great exercise. It will definitely do wonders for your drawing hand. And obviously, I've done a full piece of paper here. You can do smaller pieces of paper. You can work this for like a couple of minutes if you like. There's no reason to sit for a full hour and do this, or you can split it up and do the individual exercises in itself. Just practicing circles or any of the other shapes is a really, really good exercise. So yeah, go ahead and practice, and I will see you in the next video, and thank you very much for watching.